Rarity Collection releases today, and I wanted to have a very quick look, rather a very quick talk about, you know, some of the stuff that's going on. We got a whole lot of things. Pot of Prosperity, $9 for a Pot of Prosperity is that good? Market watch, somewhat. The thing is, I don't like to do market watches like this very often because I just tend to not give very good advice. I tend to not give very good advice on it because I just have no clue what's happening. The Yu-Gi-Oh market often behaves in ways that I simply don't understand. But I'm just trying to think, because my head is in a weird spot with the Rarity Collection right now. Because I personally am looking to get some of the cards from it. But I don't know exactly which ones yet even. But I don't know what I'm expecting in terms of the pricing. Because on the one hand, I find it hard to imagine. Because, for example, I think there was some card, some fancy rarity. Hold up. Most expensive first. Quarter Century Ash. I checked out earlier today. This thing is $130. $130 for a Quarter Century Ash Blossom. And on the one hand, I kind of get it. You know, it's a Quarter Century Ash Blossom. On the other hand, I have a hard time, quote unquote, accepting that this is a good price. Because it's like, you get multiple Quarter Centuries per box, right? How is it reasonable for singular Quarter Century? I guess it's only one Quarter Century, right? It's like there's like 79 different ones. But how many Quarter Centuries do you get per box? You get like multiples, right? 3? You get 3 per box. You see where I'm coming from when I say you get how many special rarities per box do you get? Like, how many of the fancy rarities do you get per box? Not just Quarter Century, like in general. Like ulti, collectors, you know, 12 to 14. There's a lot of different numbers right now. 12 to 14. Anyways, let's just assume let's just assume 12 for now. Doesn't need to be the exactly correct number. 12 to 14 is what most people are saying. If you get 12 fancy cards per box, and a box is don't compare these boxes to regular main set boxes, because the boxes are more expensive. Even for like stores and resellers and so on and so forth, the boxes are more expensive than main series boxes. Like, I think it's like 1.5x the price. Or maybe even slightly more than that. Like, the boxes are like $90 in like retail, I think. So the boxes are more expensive. But still, I felt like when you have 12 fancy cards, right? You have 12 fancy cards, and you have all the other holos too. Don't forget that a lot of the super rares, a lot of the ultra rares, a lot of the secret rares that aren't rarity upgrades, they still hold a decent amount of like value, right? I find it hard to imagine that some of those fancy cards alone are more expensive than the entire box, man. But I guess it's only really Ash here. Like, even Baron. Okay, it's only Ash. The only card that's worth more than the entire box is an Ash Blossom in Quarter Century. Which is, it does look good. I guess it might be understandable in a way that, like, Ash Blossom is also one of the few cards in this set that didn't have a super fancy, rarity print yet. 130 seems reasonable. Yeah, it's like the new highest rarity print of Ash, I guess. I don't know. I was yeah, I guess I was maybe it's just me. Maybe I was hoping for it to be a little bit cheaper or fancy ones. but it's fine, I guess. It's not too bad. I mean, yeah. What else is like notable? It sucks that they don't have images for these yet. I still am not sure, by the way. Like, I'm still not sure. I'm pretty sure my favorite rarity from the set is either the ulti or the collectors, but I'm not sure. I haven't decided between the two yet. There's also not that many cards I want to pick up from the set. There's not that many things I want to pick up, because for some of those cards I already have nice looking versions, or for some of them I don't care that much. Dude, that is I would be insulted by that box. If I opened Quarter Century, Summon Limit, and Featherstorm in one box, I'd be sad. Let's sort by most popular, rather. Yeah, we got Droplet for $3. We got Prosperity for $9. We got Tactics for $4. Lightning Storm for $150. I mean, that's the thing, right? That is the thing. Complaining, or rather, arguing about the prices of the high rarity cards here is a very luxury problem, right? The main takeaway from this set is still being able to pick up these incredibly powerful cards for very, very cheap is just incredibly nice, right? It's incredibly nice. No super rare should be more than $3. Well, that's the thing that time will tell, right? Time will tell whether Droplet is gonna settle at $4 or $2 or whatever. Either way, I think we can agree that, you know, Pot of Prosperity going from on release $90 and then you know, now under 10 is it's just so much better for like such a lower barrier of entry. Now, I want to be clear, the rarity collection does not alone solve all of the issues when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh with budget and all that kind of stuff, right? Like the rarity collection is a good step in the right direction, but I do want to also mention that this is, for a lot of these staples, it is relatively late, right? Because Pot of Prosperity is not a staple since a couple months. Pot of Prosperity has been a staple since early 2022, I think, was when it released. So, you know, now the card is affordable, but it's taken them a long time. Prosp even released in... Oh, no, it even released in 2021. Yeah, my bad. It even released in 2021. So a lot of these cards we're looking at here, a lot of these cards we are looking at have been expensive cards for a long time, right? And so even though this reprint is still very, very welcome, of course, it still is very late. And it is also kind of overshadowed by the fact that, well, okay, I can get my Prosperities for cheap now, but, well, they just get replaced by other money cards, right? Look at Age of Overlord. SP Little Knight is approaching $100 right now, I think. The Dia Bellstar package is also very, very expensive, depending on, like, if you want to play it in your deck, right? And so it's like, they kind of just, you know, they kind of just get replaced, right? They kind of get replaced. Jane OCG Meta, thank you for the 5 gift subs. Now, of course, it is... I don't know how to put it, but SP Little Knight being a money card is, I think, better than Pot of Prosperity being a money card. Simply because SP Little Knight usually is a 1-of, sometimes a 2-of, whereas Prosperity usually was a 3-of. So at the time when Prosperity was a $100 or €100 card, you basically needed to spend $300 on a playset, right? Whereas SP Little Knight, you need 1, which is still a lot of money, and it is still a problem. But, you know, Pack and Quantal set SP is a 3-of and Rescue Ace. So, okay, my take on that is, maybe it is. My issue with card prices is really when it's cards that you need in every single deck, right? And that's why, for example, I think it's not the end of the world if something like Vanquish Solix is expensive. Or, which is like, that, yeah, it sucks that Vanquish Soul is expensive, but you don't have to play it, right? Or yes, it sucks that Hydrant is expensive, right? Which is like, yeah, it sucks that Hydrant is so expensive, but you don't have to play Rescue Ace, right? The same goes for the Diabellstar package. It's like, in order to play Yu-Gi-Oh, especially in the current format, where, you know, whether you like it or not, there's a lot of different decks in Yu-Gi-Oh right now that you can have success with. You are not forced to play Rescue Ace. You are not forced to play Pearly. You are not forced to play whatever deck, right? There's always an alternative. The problem is when it comes to cards like Thrust or Prosperity, those are not tied to one particular deck. They are usually staples in every deck, right? And I think the real problem for when it has a real high barrier of entry to play Yu-Gi-Oh is when cards that go into every single deck are this expensive, right? Now, currently, I'm looking at Thrust. Before this reprint, I'm looking at Pot of Prosperity. I'm looking at SP Little Knight right now. Those kind of things, right? Those are those are going to affect everybody, right? Those cards being expensive affect everybody, because even if you're playing like, and that's, I think, sometimes the disheartening thing is like, if you're a budget player, you're already looking at limited deck choices, right? You don't have all the deck choices available. You have to play a deck that maybe is already not the best deck in the format. You're already putting yourself at a disadvantage by picking a different deck that you play because it's cheaper than other decks, right? And then on top of that, you also don't get to play the strongest non-engine, right? Because you can't afford Thrust, can't afford Prosperity, can't afford SP Little Knight maybe in your extra deck, right? And so it's like, even the budget decks are inherently less, like, even more at a disadvantage, right? And so I think them printing engines in higher rarity, right? Whereas like a Diabellstar engine or whatever in higher rarity is like okay. But I don't like the fact, for example, that Pot of Prosperity or Thrust were printed in the Secret Rare slot, right? But it's a whole nother discussion. I do agree that Yu-Gi-Oh is too expensive, but I don't want to open that whole can up right now. For the moment, I think it is better to look at the positives rather than the negatives. So like, does the Rarity collection solve every single issue that Yu-Gi-Oh has with pricing? No, it doesn't. But it's still very nice to be finally able to find Prosperities in super rare, ultra rare, secret rare in like affordable prices, talents, droplet. Even cards like Lightning Storm and Evenly, who had been reprinted before this, are now even cheaper. It's like good, right? And it's like, even if you can't afford something like Thrust or SP Little Knight, at least you can now play Talents, Prosperity, Droplet, and all that kind of stuff, right? It's like, at least not every single non-engine card in Yu-Gi-Oh is now super expensive, right? So I overall think this is a huge step in the right direction. I cannot imagine that this set is not successful. I think this set is going to be a blast. I think Konami is going to get great feedback on this. I think they're going to sell a ton of Rarity collections, and I hope that they just take away from this set that they maybe they take some approaches of this and do it in the future, because I think the beauty about this set, is that you get something for the budget players, which is cheap staples, but you still get something off of value in this set by putting high rarity versions of the cards in there, right? Which is a practice that the OCG has been doing forever, right? They would print cards in multiple rarities so that there's something in it for budget players and there's something in it for the high rarity players that still makes it worth opening up the set, right? And it's like, if this set is a huge success for Konami, then they might do something like this more often in the future.